This conference will now be recorded.
Hello. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Jai. Okay. Today we just go over the entire process of Selenium WebDriver automation testing approach with our framework that includes data-driven, descriptive in the sense keyword-driven, and using Java. So TestNG I covered last. So this is the final notes I'm going to share with you. Okay. So I will just walk you through this and then share with you. So initially we started off with installation and configuration, right? So the entire procedure is documented in this PDF. You can refer to this later. So how to install and Java, Selenium, and other required software. And these are mentioned in the notes too, the notepad notes. So you can refer both. So basically, this is all about Selenium setup, how to install, Eclipse setup, how to install Java SE. Current version is 1.8, so this kind of old. So just go with the latest versions and TestNG. How do you install? I'll just skip to the main portion. Okay, so these are all config files, property file. How do we set up? And we have done in the very and so to kill any browser processes manually, just use taskkill /f/am and process name will be Chrome driver. So sometimes Chrome driver gets accumulated if you run parallel testing. So it's a good idea to do this, or we can also put this in the automation in the final like post requisites. So you all know how to export and import the projects. So I just mentioned. So in case of sharing, like I did, which I put in the Google Drive, so you can unzip it and import into your project. So these are the steps. And if you're comfortable with GitHub, you can also do that. You can just fork it. So that is also mentioned in the notes. What? Yeah. So here these are the GitHub procedures. Like, well, just install the git bash and go to this and fork it, and then do all the stuff mentioned here. Okay. So initially we started off with core Java. So I just shared all the important core Java examples in this document so that you guys can just refer to this document for both core Java as well as Selenium WebDriver. So the main simple test will be like this. Simple example for any core Java. Just declare the package and declare the class. Okay, so this has to be capital letters. Okay, and if you're running it, executing it, just define the public static void main function and just simple system out. So initial for the beginners, that will be okay. And if you are creating a reusable method called addition, whose return type is integer, which takes integer as parameters, and this is how it is defined. So you already know this. So it's a simple example. And like we discussed, there are three types of access modifiers: public, private, and protected. Public means you can access anywhere within the same project, correct? Only within the same project, but you can uh, access it anywhere if you mention it public. So for example, you can refer the XPaths, page objects, page flow, not page flows, page objects. So if I go to this, okay, file. These are all public, right? So I can access it anywhere. If you're private, I couldn't access it anywhere except for this class. So that's not good. So let's make it public. If you want to make it private, just make sure you are gonna use those variables within the class only. I mean, in that case, you can make it private. And private is only within the class, and protected is access with some restrictions. So, which is most likely used by Java. I mean, Java developers. So, you don't need to. And you can create your own user-defined functions like this. Okay, so this is the syntax or mold. Okay, so same thing. All along we have been doing the reusable functions only, including the infrastructure. If you look at the operations, all these are reusable functions. The set text is a reusable function. What is reusable? Anything that is defined one time but used many times is reusable. So, which is a concept of the framework itself. So, which is good for the reusability and time saving. And like we discussed, the methods, there are 4 types in terms of what it takes and what it returns. So some methods accept arguments and returns no, accept yes, returns yes, accepts no, returns yes, accepts no arguments but returns no arguments as well. So these are 4 types. So you already seen this kind. For example, this method is not returning anything but accepting 2 arguments, WebDriver and integer. So, and yeah, so if the method is in the same class, then you can directly call it, isn't it? You don't have to instantiate. If the method is in another class but in the same project, then you have to create an instance of that class, and using that instance you have to call that method. So we have already seen this. How did we do this? If you go to any page flows like register, let's say, not register, test case. So this registration has one function, register has one function, registration, right? Now if I want to use registration in the test case, what would I do? I have to instantiate, create an instance of that class, register, and using that instance, I can access its method. So same thing. If it is a static method, then there is no need to instantiate. Directly using the class name register dot registration would be sufficient. And if it is in the same class, you don't have to do this. If this registration function is defined in this same class test case, you don't have to do this, right? Directly you can call without this instance. But the problem is this test case is going to get accumulated with all the functions. So we defined it somewhere else and we just called it so that this test case looks concise, precise. Okay. So this is used to call the constructor in the current class. Okay, correct. Constructor is nothing but I gave you example here, test data pool. So the test data pool is a class name and the constructor name is the class name itself. So this is the default constructor. Okay. So if I instantiate test data pool, automatically this is going to get executed. So what I'm doing is I'm calling, I'm reading all the contents of the Excel spreadsheet in the test data pool. And this is the parameterized constructor. If I want to pass the test case number, let's say, then I would call this and pass this. So these two are called constructors. This is the default constructor. This is the parameterized constructor. And mostly default constructor is used for initializing the variables, whereas you can just if you don't have a variables initialize anyway, it will just initialize from here. And if you want to assign these variables, you can create getters and setters. Okay, set methods and get methods. And super is used to call the construct in the immediate parent class if you are extending it. So static means it belongs to the class, not an instance. So we discussed the static. And you can read all this. This is all been discussed in the Java classes, how to create instances and what are they, scope, etc. Examples. So you can just copy paste in your Eclipse and try to execute and play with them. Okay, so this is all for what is a final variable. Final variable and final method means, yeah, final variable means it cannot be changed. The value cannot be changed. Whereas a final method, if you make a method final, it cannot be overridden. So basically, overriding concept we have seen in the OOPS concept or object-oriented programming concept. Overriding it belongs to which concept in OOPS? What is the OOPS concept? Object-oriented. Java is object-oriented programming, right? So abstraction, class and objects, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. These are the concepts in the OOPS, right? So this overriding belongs to inheritance, parent and child classes. So if a child class extends parent class, it is going to inherit all the features from the parent. And if its parent class is a method and child class is the same method redefined, then if you call child class method will override the parent class. So if you make that final, it can't be overridden. So this is used to prevent unexpected behavior from a subclass, altering a method that may be crucial to the function or constraints of the class. So final means you just think that it cannot be changed or overridden, whether it's variable or function. So like, yeah, final variable can only be initialized once, either via initializer or assignment statement, like something equals something. And static means static method can only access static data. We have already seen practically in Java session. It cannot access non-static data, right? Unless it has or it creates an instance of the class. A static method can call only other static methods and cannot call non-static methods. So this is the fundamental. Static can only call static, not non-static. So you can do these examples. I created a static variable and try to use this. Just read this because take some time. So you read it and do this. And static variables or classes will always be available anywhere. Final is just a keyword, that means variable cannot be changed. So sometimes we have declared some variables as public static final string, right? In the page objects, yeah, public static final string. It means it is available anywhere, and you can call it from the class name, and you cannot change its value, and it's a string. Okay. Same thing. I'm repeating the same thing just to reiterate. When we apply final keyword, the variable value remains constant. And static, when we apply static keyword, the variable it belongs to the class and blah blah blah. You can read this. Okay, now comes the concept of exception handling. We have seen using the try catch finally. Okay, so try catch finally is used when you suspect the method you defined or method you called is gonna throw exception. So you just put the piece of code in the try catch. And finally is always going to get executed no matter what, even if it throws exception or not. So this is the example. So I just put in italics so that you can identify it as a code. So you can don't copy it. So if you wanna just execute it, just type in your Eclipse and execute it in the separate. Just create a separate test case, separate folder for Java practice, and try to. So this piece of code is put it in a try block. Why? Because I am dividing some number by 0, and dividing number by 0 is not allowed, right? It's going to throw exception, undefined or something. You cannot divide by 0, something like that. So I put it in this and I'm catching the exception. And finally, I want to return 34. Okay, and it's always going to get executed no matter what. So if you want to execute something in case of exception or no exception, just put that piece of code in the final block. It could be anything like closing browser from automation perspective, or just putting some, printing some line to console or anything of sort. So it's completely up to you. Okay, same examples regarding fine. And arrays we haven't seen much because we have seen one example long time back, but in the automation we have seen because we didn't get a chance to. But so arrays is just multiple data put in a single object, single variable. So string array contains multiple strings. So you can think of it as a collection of all strings is string array. So you can access it by index starting from 0. Okay, now Selenium. So initially Selenium, like if you take 2005 or before or after, so we used to record and playback mostly using the Firefox add-in. So there used to be add-in. Now it's not available. So I just took the screenshot. So this is how it used to look, and you just click the record button and just do whatever operations you want to do on the browser, right? Just doing some operations on the browser, blah blah blah. Then it would record all the operations like this. Typed something, typed selected from radio button, drop down, select something, typed, and clicked on the link, submit, so and so. It's already, it would automatically generate the code for you. And you could also parameterize here, change the code a little bit and parameterize, but it was very cumbersome. And finally you could export it as Java, Ruby, or Python or C# languages, whichever you're comfortable with, and you can execute in Eclipse. So it was like very cumbersome process. It wouldn't give you independence of coding. So that's just for the history purpose I'm explaining. Otherwise I wouldn't recommend. Even it's you want to use it, it's not available, it's deprecated. So it was called Selenium 1.0 or something. Now later came Selenium 2.0, which is already also known as Selenium WebDriver, and currently we are using the Selenium 3.x, which is the enhanced version, updated version of Selenium. Okay, same example I gave you in the beginning. TC0 Selenium Google example, right? So same example with simple Google search and capture some element and verify it is given over here. So the basic concept of this example is it's a linear framework, no hazards, and just create the Chrome driver like this. Set system property, point it to the Chrome driver, and create the instance of Chrome driver and driver.get URL, correct? And then I can capture the driver.find element by name or XPath, whatever it will return the web element. And on the web element, I can operate anything, any methods like clear, click, and send keys. And finally, I can submit is just submitting the page. You can also click the particular link and capturing uh, capturing something and validating. And if it's pass or fail, you can bring it to the console. So driver provides me different methods for the Chrome driver. We includes get title and get and navigate to all those, which we will discuss in a moment. And finally, you can quit the driver, which is going to kill all the browser instances. Close is going to kill only one browser instance. And if you're doing parallel testing, it's going to kill all the browser instances that are opened by the Chrome driver. And then we switch to the we also did the example and demo AIT, correct? That is TC1, which is simple, not fully modularized. So I would still call it linear. So we created a pages and test cases. That's all. But here everything is in the same class, same test case, including the XPaths, and XPaths we didn't use. So name, but I would recommend using the XPaths, which we did. So this is just for the reference only. And all this you already know, so I'll just skip. So simple driver.find element by name. So name can change. XPath if you define, it could be mostly generic. So even though it's gonna fail in case of XPath changes, I'm not saying it's a fail safe, but it's gonna be more optimized. Okay. I tried to attach something, but yeah, I don't know if this attachment is intact. But don't worry, this attachment is not required because Eclipse we already have. Cannot open. Okay, that's okay. This would contain, was supposed to contain the whole project, linear project in zipped format, but it's actually not there. That's fine. And shortcuts we already seen. How do you comment? Control Shift / multi-comment Control Shift. Sorry, multi-comment from Control Shift back / multi-comment Control Shift. Multi-uncomment is / autocomplete, just Control space bar, and so and so. Okay, so this is where the object identification comes into picture. Locations, locators, XPath, and CSS. So this is a general syntax. We already seen this / represents what / represents relative path. So I don't have to start from the topmost parent, which is HTML or body, but I can start from the immediate or relatively immediate. And element type, which can be anything, input or something. Then the property name, right? @ property name equals, this is the exact match. If you use double quotes, exact match, and class name, so and so. So for text, it should be text bracket open bracket close. So these are just syntaxes which we have already discussed. So I'm just rediscussing them. So like we have only used XPath because XPaths are the most, I mean, in terms of speed and accuracy, they are the best one. So you can use XPaths only. But in case you need to use IDs or text, so these are the syntaxes. And contents is the most widely used way. So because it gives us the opportunity to only rely upon the partial text, which is gonna be more likely a fail-safe one, because full text can be changed somewhere, and if you think there is a dynamic text, always use the contents. So element / element, it could be anything, font, table, or image. If you go to registration, you can find wide variety A or input, right? So this is the element, and the contents is the property name, and this is the property value, single quotes. So double quotes you can avoid. If you put double quotes, you have to put backslash, since it's a syntax I didn't mention. And CSS syntaxes would look like this. We didn't use because they are not as good as XPath. So element title equal title, so and so. And you can validate the XPaths in Chrome console itself using $x and $by for the CSS. But we validated using Control F, so both are fine. And driver we created in setup. So in setup we created the driver. Okay, just drag this down. So I made the reusable function called launch browser, which takes URL and browser as parameters and returns a WebDriver, right? So this one, this launch browser is conditional on browser type, which you pass from the config file here, right? So whatever browser type I mentioned here, it would take it, and based on that, as a browser dot equals Chrome, then it will set the property to Chrome driver and create instance of Chrome driver and get the URL. Okay, so get is defined in all Chrome driver, Chrome browser, Chrome driver, or Firefox driver, or Internet Explorer driver, all. So it's just a definition changes, but it would suit the needs of the particular browser, and then maximize the browser. Actually, I can put this maximize at the very end because it is the same stuff going on, right? Let's see. Remove all these places. Okay, manage expanding the maximizing the whole browser. I can put after this, but within the try block only, but because can throw it. So this will actually maximize after the getting opening the browser with the URL and all. So we have seen for Chrome, Firefox, Edge, IE, and you can also add other browsers like what? Like we have downloaded Opera also, correct? Did anybody do the Opera driver? I downloaded it and put it in here. So you can use the, you can just put else condition, but just in case, just create another else if condition. I mean, if you run this, you will know the difference. Otherwise, Opera, right? But make sure you mention that Opera word browser is equal to IE, which is not likely to be used. Browser equals Opera. So all these browsers. You can also include mobile browsers, iPhone browser, Android browser, etc. So that is a part of mobile testing. So if you're interested, you can just go into that area. Okay, so all you have to do is just change the property name Opera and this file Opera driver.exe. So exactly, and this is gonna be Opera driver. If it is available in the Selenium jar, it will come up. Let's see. Opera driver. That's what I type. So do you see Opera driver in the list? Yes or no?
Yes, the second one.
Okay, yeah. So Opera driver is available. So likewise, you just keep defining all the drivers which are there in the seleniumhq.org. Remember? Yeah, this is the bookmark I made. One, two, three, four, we have seen, and IE, we have seen 5. So you can try all of this, which is gonna get you hands-on. So it's the more you play, the more you get experience. I don't have to cover all, these are all required, but just cover few of these. And if you just make sure your browser is installed, because I only install Chrome and I mean Edge, Chrome and Firefox, it's gonna work first three. I don't have Internet Explorer and I don't have Opera, so it's not gonna work. So first thing you have to do is install these browsers, then download the driver and change this property to, I mean uncomment this property and comment this, so Opera is set. So then it will run. So those are the like common sense, I mean prerequisites, so I didn't mention it anyway. So that's what we did in driver getting. So the reason I went back is I wanted to show you how did we get the driver, correct? And don't worry about the CSS selector. I just mentioned two for every time. I mean XPath and CSS selector. So if you look at it, driver.find by CSS selector, this would look like this. Same thing. So you don't have to worry about it. And the CSS selector, the value XPath value would look differently, but CSS selector value looks this one, like this is the parent element dot div dojo x dot expand. These are all parent elements. Expand like that. So it's your choice. XPath is most widely used, so you better use that one. And examples of the same thing I repeated just for the practice purpose. So if you're already aware, you can skip this. So driver.find element by name from port we have already seen, right? By ID, text or title. And send keys, I can type something. And hard coded syntax looks like this, right? I hard coded it, delete. If I want to parameterize, it would look like this. I can just put a link title and pass the link title from somewhere. So that's exactly what we did in the operations infrastructure, right? So if you look at getX, I parameterize the XPath locator so that I can pass the XPath locator wherever I want to call, correct? So wherever this is used, open call hierarchy, it's gonna show us all the instances where it was called getX. We have called it like multiple times, right? Registration we called. If you open this, so getX we called, so immediately you can see. And here I am passing this XPath. So XPath is not hard coded, it's parameterized, and XPath is coming from here. This is XPath. So that's a framework we followed. So this is just hard coded just for your understanding purpose. Using purpose, you have to use a parameterized one. And same thing I repeated for CSS selector also. So don't worry about this. If you're interested, you can use it, but you're gonna get confused if you use both. So stick to one, XPath. So some notes on XPath, which I already mentioned in the notes, Selenium notes. But in XPath, always use double slash in the beginning of XPath, because why? The reason is it represents a relative. Otherwise, if you use single slash, it's not gonna work. And you cannot possibly take all the values right from the HTML. That means without using double slash in the beginning. So that is double slash is required. Same thing in CSS and in XPath. If you use @ there is no need to use this. So @ is mostly used for what? @ is used for all the properties except for text. So text, if you look, you have used text bracket open bracket close. So that is a syntax. So you just have to remember that. And if you do not, yeah, same thing. For text we have to use that, and double quotes and single quotes. So like I said, do not go for double quotes, because single quotes you don't have to escape anything. So if I use double quotes, what you have to do? You have to put a escape character, right? So which is again, see, if I put double slash, it's gonna throw error. If you hover over it, it says syntax error, insert blah blah blah. It doesn't even show the correct error. So you have to every time escape. So this is gonna look cumbersome and non-readable, right? So it's better to use single quotes instead. So that's what we stick to. I mean, whichever is more convenient, so that we can concentrate on the logic test case instead of these syntaxes. So Yeah, so that's what I mentioned. Usage of double quotes and single quotes. If you use double quotes, you have to use this. That's what the escape character, right? If you use single quotes, there is no need. And same thing with CSS. Then we jump to the modularized framework, right? Modularized framework in the sense we divided everything into separate packages. These are packages: data, flows, info. Okay, don't worry about batches. Batches I couldn't show you. So this is just to run the whole. If you have 200 test cases, you just put it in the batch and batch will run instead of running. Because we don't have 200 test cases, we can just run from here. So imagine this suite contains like big number of 200 test cases and you have to run one by one, which is impossible, right? You have to sit before the system. If you want to run it overnight, you can't just wake up every time once the test case is finished. So better to put all of them in the batch and run the batch file. So batch file is executable. If you just double click, it's gonna run, but it's not gonna run right now like this. It's gonna invoke all the test cases one by one driver and open the Chrome browser for test case 1, then finish, close the browser, then test case 2, open, execute, close. So this is gonna repeat for all the 200 test cases. So that is extra. If you are interested, you can read. If this involves VB scripting, all right. So I wrote in the VB scripting, you can actually open and show you. So same thing. It just I'm calling here all the test cases somewhere. Yeah, this is a Java path set, and this is for time delay, and this is for cleanup the Chrome driver instances, like I said. And so you just make sure you put the correct path. Yeah, so script name. So it's gonna call this. I put it in a for loop, right? So starting test case number, ending test case number, I'll mention, so that I have a choice to exactly run whatever I want to. So for example, if I want to run from test case number 30 to 75, so I can mention 30 and 75, and it's gonna loop in. So first test case, then come back, and second test case. So the for loop syntax is like this in the VB script. If you understand VB script, you can just read it. Okay. So the mostly VB script is used for QTP or UFT. So that's why there is no need for Selenium. So this is not required. You don't have to. All you have to do is just change some values and run it. But if you're interested, you already know VB script, you're welcome to review that, read it. And Selenium reporting VBS, same thing. VBS is oh sorry, this is a batch file which has Windows coding, but VBS. So VBS actually is gonna report and everything. So let me just go over it. So I created a class dim is a keyword for declaring any variable type. So it's just one declaration, and so this function is to add all PDF attachment to the final PDF, which contains all the screenshots. How do you attach to the mail and everything? So there are a lot of values which you need to customize. So all the paths are hard coded. If you see DRFT, so and so, right? So you have to change the local directory reports where they are stored. So this is the actual VB script. This is a shell Windows shell program. So this will actually do all the rest of the stuff after we have completed the execution, right? After the screenshots are stored, then it takes over this VBS call. If you run this after running test cases, it will call VBS script, which will actually email and attach these reports and send the email to all the lists with the subject and body, all the stuff, all the post requisite stuff, I mean. So that's going to be taken care. Okay, so this is like I'm gonna just briefly explain about the modularization. The reason we modularized is like this: data config separately, data contains all constants and data pool, And database strings is for database strings, so I didn't go into this. So you can just create host name, database name, port number, user ID, password, all these things, right? So you can mention here, or you can just like this acts as a constant paths, the way we mentioned paths, same thing for database paths. So you can hard code it initially if you don't understand. And I just left it for module-based framework initially, right, before hybrid. So everything is mentioned in this class, like XPaths and everything, driver.find element, by which we later move to the operations. So this is just an initial understanding. So I just kept it, but test case you have to run for that is test case 1, module-based framework. Remember, TC0 is Selenium example, Google example, and TC1 is the same demo UT example, but it will call these module-based framework rather than these page flows. So the only difference is it doesn't use the infrastructure functions like we did later. So which is most likely. This is just for the initial understanding again. All right. So that's that. And infrastructure we use for configuration and operations mainly, and setup. And page flows is mainly used for the page definitions, right? Flights. If you go to flights, I define the flights page completely, right? But first I read the whole data pool, and then clicking link, and I pass the XPaths, blah blah blah. So all the definition, how do you go through, navigate through the pages defined in page flows. So page objects in other way, it actually deals with the XPaths. It's just a XPath holder, locator holder. So just make a difference between page objects and page flows. Page objects refer to the XPaths. Page flows refer to the actual pages that we are going to call in the test case. And setup, you can use the same setup. This is just a different way of setting up the prerequisite and post requisites, so you can use it if you want. It's the same thing. The setup we used is this setup, right? Same thing I'm using here, driver is written. So you can actually move this setup to this setup, but you have to move refactor. Okay, so refactor move. Otherwise, if you just cut paste, it's not gonna work, it's gonna fail. So if you want, you can move it here. You want to move it here, show it. It won't break anything. Refactor move. Now it will show me destination. Where do you want to move? So I'm moving from infrastructure to setup, because setup I can immediately refer to setup if I want to set up the driver, right? So that's the first thing that's gonna come to my mind. You can preview. So just make sure you update the references checkbox in the previous. If you don't select this, it's not, that means this will actually, wherever this setup is called, right? So all the, it currently belongs to the infrastructure package. Now it's going to change it to setup package in the declarations, imports, wherever you call it automatically. So I recommend you to select this. You don't have to select this update fully qualified name, so that's not required. So it's by default selected, so do not touch it. That's all. And click OK. Now it moved to the setup. See, setup, right? So nothing is broken, everything is intact, no errors. So if I go to test case 2, so setup, if you see, it automatically changes the import. Setup where, yeah, so setup.setup. Before it was infrastructure.setup. So if you go to click on this setup, it's going to take me to the setup.setup. Okay, so that's a refactor move. So I just moved to the appropriate folder. And setup is done. Test cases, where we put actual test cases, right? And utils are all the utility related functions, like we have seen: database utils, Excel utils, file system utils, log utils, password utils, PDF utils, property utils, report utils, screenshot utils, string utils, XML utils, right? So you can actually put all those report, utility related functions here and call those. So this is called many times report result, right? So if you want to see where it is called, just go to open call hierarchy, Control Alt H shortcut. So you can see where the function is called many times. So I have called it in flight finder, let's say. So I'm reporting after clicking radio button before submitting. I'm just reporting it as done. Okay, so this is going. I already explained what it does. It takes a screenshot, writes to the property file, takes a screenshot, and prints to the console as possible. Okay, so this is all modularized. That means I separated each and every class based on their functionality or their purpose. Okay, so that's a modularization approach, which is very recommended in the project, also real-time project. So you cannot say I don't want to use modularized. I want to dump every class in the single package. So what happens if you define all the class in a single package? What is the difference it's going to make? Anybody? What is the advantage of modularization versus linear approach? Anybody? Just tell me in a sentence.
In modularized process, every task has its own separate function. So to perform a separate just one task, we just need to call just one function. But
Correct.
if we
Yeah.
put all the functions in the same single page, so
Hmm.
for one task, it's not possible to call just the separate function. So I
Right.
have to run all the whole script for just one
Everything.
task.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So and it's gonna it's gonna look like a mess. This looks very neat, right? Because I'm just calling this. So imagine if I actually dump its this whole thing, right? This is the actual function, right? Now if I dump the whole thing in the same here, let's say, where was it? Test case. So imagine if I dump whole of this, it's not gonna look nice. It's gonna look very tedious and lengthy, which is not good for the test. So readability wise, this looks neat. Okay, if somebody looks at it, non-Java person, he can he say I'm executing the bouquet flight. I'm just calling valid price and passengers info is entered, credit card info is entered. Then I'm confirming the flight validation, and then final reporting. This is actually, it looks like a story. You can read it like a textbook or a storybook. So
It's
what
also
it
hard
does is
to
inside.
manage code after finishing the project. If we have any modification or project updates, it's hard to understand and also hard to debug too.
Correct. Yeah. Hard to understand, hard to debug. So that is the reason. So I mentioned the same thing here. You need to create a static instance of WebDriver. This is important because you have to use the same driver throughout the test case for the project. Okay. I mentioned the project because it's gonna use for each and every test case. But each and every test case is gonna create its own instance. But what I mean to say is same has same driver instance has to be used. So imagine a situation where I do not call this driver from there. So I just create a driver here. This register function uses one driver and it closes. Then flights page uses another driver. Okay, so that's not good because if driver is not maintained, right, it's not gonna work whole test case. It's gonna break for the reporting purpose, and execution doesn't work. So that's why if you look at it carefully, launch browser, WebDriver driver is equal to null, and where is it? Yeah. So everywhere just put static, like this. Static is gonna take care of it. It is the setup. Yeah. So this is a where it is called. I'm looking this case two. Okay. So here same thing, but I here specifically in the test run setup I use a static instance. Stat, not this one. Test setup. Yeah, so like here. Public static WebDriver get driver. So instead of this is more sophisticated way of doing it. So if you are interested, you are welcome to call this one. So this is just returning a driver. Initially, I'm initializing the driver to null, but you have to instantiate to the Chrome driver and all the good stuff like this Firefox driver that we have already done it. So this is the way you make it static. So you can actually convert it to static. Currently, it looks non-static, but it is doing its job. Okay. So static is better because I don't have to worry about anywhere else being used. So for the reason why it worked is this whole thing is linear. There is no separation. I'm not going to separate application or jumping back into. So it worked. So if you wanna just make it static like this, it's gonna be 100% foolproof. So you can do that. And you must be calling the parent class WebDriver instance. So yes, public access modifier. Yep. So same thing like this, get driver, return driver, and in the base class. This is a basic example, but just for example, you can implement the same thing in this example, and you can do the whole project like we did for the demo AAT. You can do it for cheapoair.com or kayak.com, or you can go to Gmail registration, all the stuff. You can apply the same thing to anywhere, any project. So the basic framework does not change. Only that changes is the XPaths and functions and definitions, right? So like this, get driver. So get driver is static, not here, there. So, okay, yeah, like here, get driver is static. So same thing I defined for get driver for Chrome underscore Chrome and underscore Firefox. Okay, but I would recommend using, where is the setup? Yeah, here. Okay, let me add it to the Git so I don't. So here I created a condition based if else. Okay, so like this, or if you want to actually, so this will reduce the number of functions because I'm just putting a condition and passing the browser type. So that's it. If I pass based on the value, it's gonna invoke Chrome or Firefox thing. Okay, so I was gonna show you slightly differently. So if else, if you're using like multiple times, better use a switch case. So switch key case, this is the syntax. So all I'm gonna do is switch the browser. All right, case is Chrome. So watch what happens. Okay, all this goes into here and break as soon as it's just like else if condition. Once it's Chrome is done and breakout. Do not execute anymore. So that's what it said. Okay, same thing. Or you can say case Firefox. So which one looks better? You tell me later. Firefox colon. Then define all the subsystem.set property. Driver is equal to new Firefox driver. Get driver, right? And also the get driver can be later. So we will move it accordingly. Then you have to break. There are no braces here. Oh, sorry, break colon. And the same thing for case. What is the next case? Edge case, right? Colon. So you have to be just careful about the syntax. So I'm copying because it's already defined, and just put a break statement, and then case E colon, then case I can copy this. So this is a good example for switch case. That's why I'm saying, because we have already seen the if and else, if else's. So this. Now finally, lastly, case. Tell me anywhere I made a mistake immediately. I will correct it. Is any mistake so far? Yes, or is it?
Colon.
Okay, great. So there is a colon. That's what I was checking. If anybody can catch this. Okay, so finally I put the manage driver dot manage windows maximize, so that I can put after the switch case. Default is if you don't have any, like if I mention so let's say what are the other browsers? Let me think. Safari, right? So then it's gonna come to default. So because Safari we didn't define, you can just this out. So let's say the mention browser type is not defined. Okay. Then you can define, or you can just pass the current browser. So all this is gonna go out. Okay. Is it okay if I delete it? Yep. So just try and understand the same thing. I use a switch case, which is looking more neater and readability wise, it's better, right? Switch browser case Chrome, do this stuff and break. Here, if it is Firefox, do this stuff and break. Blah blah blah. So I just control I, which will easily change the lines. Okay, and we have already seen this driver.get URL is common for all, so you don't have to repeat. So remove all these repeating things, it will look more nice. The only that differs for each browser is set property and driver instance creating. Driver is equal to new browser driver. Okay, so all this common stuff I am putting outside. Okay, that's it. So same thing, it will do the same thing exactly. So you can execute and see if anything breaks or something. So but switch browser and case Chrome or whatever browser. Make static and see, because you cannot call static in the non-static. So since it is static, now I can call the launch browser using setup directly, isn't it? So that's the advantage. So I don't have to create this setup. Setup is equal to new setup. Directly I can use capital setup. Yeah. So now let's quickly run and see if any, because I made some changes and you don't want to break the test case because of the changes. So you just make sure by running it, if everything runs fine, you're good. So everything ran fine, right? So no breakage. So you don't need to create the instance directly statically. So now it is static. So perfect. You can remove. Okay. Now let me quickly. What did we change just now? The setup, right? Yeah. So finally enhancements. I'm just mentioning its enhancement. Oh, so initially I forgot to add to index, right? So always add add to index if you keep any new files. Okay, nothing there. Maybe it was already. Okay, there are no staged files. Maybe it's gone already. Okay, so it's going to Selenium tutorial. Let's just make sure. Okay, so it came. So good. Okay, so now let's get back to this. Okay, so the reason I went is the WebDriver has to be static, and we made it static already, so we are fine. And same test case, I put the code in here, which is a non-modularized, non-hybrid approach. So using a by name. Okay, back then this is the previous class. So you always refer to this one for the any new enhancements or new project. This is just for your reference. Same thing new. If I want to select a value from drop down, same thing we did driver.find element by name instead of XPath. And I'm passing that, which returns this whole thing returns a web element. I'm passing that to select class, and using the select instance, I'm selecting by visible text and passing the what I want to select from the drop down. So same stuff, but more unorganized manner. So this is just a initial understanding for who are beginners. It's good, but advanced people like you, it's not good. So this is good. This structure. Okay. No, same thing. Data driving. So Excel, using Excel spreadsheet, we already parameterized everything in terms of data pool and everything. So if I go to anything flight finder, so initial thing is we read the data pool, right? Excel spreadsheet, and using that raw data, we did all this, right? We actually pass from raw data instead of hard coding. So this is a data driven, correct? So now so the same concept, but initially we used to use different jar. Currently we use different jar, Apache POI jar, right? So this was a different jar called JXL. So don't worry, both do the same thing, but it's more sophistication. I mean, Apache POI is a better one. So if you want to use try JXL jar also, you're welcome to do the same thing. All you have to do is just call this method get workbook, workbook.getWorkbook, and pass the path to that Excel. Right. Then modularized parameterized data driven framework, which we call as hybrid framework, right? So everything put together. So I just put it in words, same thing that we see. So I don't know whether don't worry about these. These are not actual attachment. Actual attachments are not working. So same files that are part of the project. So I just put it in the this one PDF. I try to attach, but PDF is not a good tool to attach the file. So forget about this because it's already there. And these are the logs, final logs. So we have already seen the final logs should look like the neat logs, right? So the logs were already there. Where are the logs? Console. So with the timestamp and everything. So we can also calculate the duration of the total test case, how much time it took, the length or duration, like 1 minute or 1 minute 5 seconds. So you can print that information in the report and here, because the performance is also important, right? So if a test case is taking like 15 minutes, that's not good because there are more test cases to run. So you have to just keep track of the duration also. And you can put a flag if some test case is taking more time. That means some service is taking longer time or some page is not responding. response time is more, and so you can figure out and tell the performance team. So there are different tools for performance testing, load runner and ration performance tester. There are many, so that's their job. Okay, same stuff, it's a different job. Excel. So you can read this code to read from Excel file. We have already seen. I just put the same thing here. And code to write to Excel file. We don't need to write because this is useful only when we want to compile all the results. If you have 200 test cases and you want to put pass or fail of each test case into a file, this is going to be useful. So you can play with this if you are running many test cases. And TestNG framework, I'll lastly explain a little bit. It's mostly used for its a usage of annotations, which will basically give us a flexibility in calling this. So currently we are calling all this like this, right? So if I don't call in the definition itself, I'll just mention at the before class or at the test or at the after class. So automatically it's gonna execute those. And the reports for TestNG are better. So all you have to do is just download this BEUST Eclipse. In here, there is a in the help section in Eclipse, there is a option called install new software. So this is kind of a plugin or software. So all you have to do is just type can I copy this? beust.com. Okay, so this automatically it's gonna download all the related files for the TestNG. So it's already installed on my system, so I don't have to reinstall. You can try next and accept all the things. So okay, you just have to select and go next, and that's all. Already installed, so I'm not going to install again. So that we TestNG we used it in here for the rest, right? I converted this one. So this project is also shared, so you can look at it, and you can convert the whole project into TestNG as well. Also, you can convert the whole project into Maven also, right? So convert to Maven project will convert the whole thing into Maven. You can try that. So all you have to do is just download that Maven jar or something. So TestNG. All you have to do is after downloading this jar, TestNG jar, you have to add to library. Yeah, go ahead.
And then we use the Maven dependency, and then we connect the jar, and then separately we need the jar also added, or all the jar we put to the POM XML file. Which one is better?
No, Maven is a more of a setting kind of thing. So I'll just show you how to convert. Maven, right? Okay, so like I said, configure and convert to Maven, and so it's going to convert whole thing. But be careful because something might fail. So just take a backup of this, and you keep the current non-Maven project, which it is, and create a copy of it and convert that copy into Maven. So otherwise some things might break, and whatever is working, it won't work. So be careful. So
Maybe Maven
this is the Maven project. This is the Maven project.
Yeah.
So this is shared in. You can look at it. For example, it creates a POM file, right? So it's already converted. So you can add dependencies, and in the POM you can mention the dependencies here. It is both Maven and TestNG. So if you look at TestNG and Maven perspective, this is a good example. It's not a complete example, but it's a good example. Okay, so the XML looks like this, and this is all. I used one or two dependencies. This is a dependency, right? Dependency ID, rest assured for the REST services, and artifact ID and its version. If you want to keep it dynamic, you just make dynamic, and it will take dynamic version, latest version already. And for the new dependency, for a new jar, you just make a copy of it and add that particular, like for example, if I am using apache.py, then I am apache.py. I mean, I'm typing, so you have to refer to the correct value of it. And it's like something like, okay, so this is for the dependency of apache.py. So yes, likewise, TestNG XML. All you have to do is you have to download this jar, TestNG, add it, and Maven dependencies are these. So it will download all the jars here. So whatever you mentioned in the form, and it will create a folder called .m2. Okay, in C drive or somewhere. Not in C drive. I think it's in. Yeah, so this folder will be created. .m2 means it's for Maven. So the repository will hold all the jars, whatever jars I mentioned, right? So all the jars will be stored here. So this is for rest assured, IO.REST assured, JSON path, all these parts, XML path. So yeah, that's it. You just mention the dependencies there, and it will download them to Maven dependency. Okay. Any questions regarding this? You can play with this, apply the same, convert this to Selenium tutorial, but remember you just make a copy of it. Okay. A copy in the sense, do not copy from here. Do you know how to make a copy? You just make a copy and re-import as a new project. Selenium tutorial. Or I recommend use different workspace itself. You know, right? So if you reopen, you can create a different workspace in the same laptop and use in that one, just to avoid the conflicts if you're not comfortable. Otherwise, you can make a copy, like you can say Selenium tutorial underscore Maven, then that would do that. But just keep track of all the paths and everything, the imports, which might be. Okay. So I have a document for Maven, which I want to share with you guys. Where is this? Not here. Okay. Okay, let's see the stackoverflow.com. What this is. Yeah, convert to Maven project. That's it. Yeah, and you update the POM file. Yeah, that's it. So all you have to mention is the dependencies. Okay, maybe I put
I have a question regarding this.
Maven, I don't know. Yeah, TestNG I put it, I shared, so you can look at it. And the current one that I'm going walking you through, WebDriver nodes, right? I also shared it, so you can refer to that later. And Maven, I will add it. Maven documentation, I have it, so I will also share it. So otherwise, just to keep it simple, you just have to convert this to Maven project and add the dependencies in the form. Okay.
I have a question. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I use different workspace, like not in C drive. I have multiple drives in my machine, so I use different drives for all Java projects. But for this project like Selenium, it's running okay. But when I I start new project and convert it to Maven, and it's creates some problem. I don't know why. Should I use any workspace in C drive only, or it's
No, you can
okay?
use D drive also. See, this is the current workspace, right? So I can browse and change the workspace for the second instance. This is like I can use for like D drive. Maybe C drive you already used the instance. Maybe that's having conflict with it. So if you have D drive, use that. Or
Okay.
you can use the same workspace. You don't have to change it. All you have to change is just change the name. I mean, create a copy, right?
Yeah, I
And
always do that. But
yeah, you just
for the
same copy.
Maven project only, my current project is running, only Java project is running okay. No issue with that. But for the Maven project, there's caused some issues like
Yeah. That's the thing. This project you can look at it. Rest assured, I shared with you guys. Rest assured, yeah. So this is the same one. REST API tutorial.zip. Download it and unzip it. So this is a Maven converted project and TestNG. So everything related to TestNG Maven for reference. It's not a wholesome project. It's a simple project, but just wanted to show you guys how the Maven, and most of the projects use Maven, so it's better to have some like hands-on with the Maven. So hence I would like you to guys to try this, go through this. And okay, best example, you know what? Instead of Selenium or this, you just try to convert the Java tutorial to Maven. That's better. Okay, because even if it is messed up, you have nothing to lose. We have already seen this Java simple core Java this thing, right? Programs. So you can try that. So I think I already shared that Java tutorial. I didn't share. Copy of Selenium. Oh, this is not mine. Maybe somebody else is creating. Selenium tutorial is late, this one, and this copy of Selenium is not mine, so I'll remove it. And Java tutorial, I will just share it. So what you can do is just play with the Maven and TestNG. You can convert Java tutorial, which is mostly, I mean, nothing to do with any of the Selenium stuff. Later, if you want, you can convert the Selenium after you renaming it, making a copy. So let me call this tutorial and finish. Oh, it's already there. Okay, let me overwrite it. So it seems it's already there. There we go. Yeah. So let me put this guy in here. Okay, so Java tutorial you can download and play with it in terms of Maven. Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue our walkthrough. So this is 40% more. So then I'll jump to interview questions and then sample resume. So that's the plan for today. Okay, so as like I said, TestNG mostly we will use @test annotation. This is used to tell the method under the, hey, this is a test case, you run it. So we have seen already in that get data TestNG, right? So I put this annotation TestNG. That means this is the main test case. Like it's like public static void main. So I'm asking it to run it. So set the home page method to our test case so that we can call TestNG above it. So whatever you want to refer to as main test, just put this @test before that method. So it will be treated as a main test, like public static void main in the regular Java. Since we use annotations in TestNG, we needed to import the package, of course, right? .testng.annotations we have to import. So instead of .star, I imported these explicitly. This is called explicit import. So which is good because if you mention import .testng.annotations .star, it's going to import all those which are required, not required into your. So what's problem is it's going to take a lot of time and in terms of execution, and it's going to occupy some space, right? So do not mention star. So this is what is recommended. So this is what is not recommended. .star means it's going to import all the sub packages, right? Which is basically not required for us. So this is called explicit import. This is called implicit import. No, just to close that, not to save anything because there's nothing to save. Okay. We use the assert class. That assert class is used to conduct verification. Okay. So let me go. Maybe I have used assert. So just like we compared actual result with expected result, right? In TestNG, we already have that assert. So which is gonna like methods like assert dot assert equals, which is gonna take two parameters, expected and actual. It's gonna compare automatically. Yeah, same thing. Assert dot assert equals. So code is my actual value is expected. Okay, so just to avoid the confusion, which one comes first, just hover over it. Hover over it and see here. Press F2 to hold it if you want. Okay. Then first parameter is actual value, second is expected. So sometimes you may get confused which one is first expected or second actual or something. So just avoid first comes actual, second comes expected. Assert the two ints are equal. If they are not, then it's gonna throw assertion error. Right? Simple. So if it's thrown error, it's gonna throw error. That means it's fail. If it is gonna not gonna throw error, but it prints the positive result in the TestNG, paused like pass one, then assertion passed, so no problem. So this is the actual which I captured from the response, right? Just like I captured from web page get text using the driver, same thing. Response get status code is going to return the code. So using it, and 200 is what I'm expecting. So actual expected computation. So it's more like a sophisticated way of doing it using TestNG. It will reduce the effort level, which we normally put a lot of effort without TestNG. That will be reduced. That's the only advantage. And we may have multiple test cases also. Therefore, multiple at the TestNG can be used. If you have multiple test cases, you can repeat the same thing, another method, right? So that test case, that function name differs, and that whole definition differs. And you can also prioritize if you don't want to like first this will be called, then this will be called. And if you want to set a priority, you can also set priority. Otherwise, just leave it. And execution wise, run the test cases, TestNG, right? So all you have to do is when you run as it shows TestNG test instead of regular test. So that's the only difference. Eclipse will provide two outputs, one in console window and the other in the TestNG results window. So we have already seen, right click and run as TestNG. One is console already, which we have it. This is the console. It's gonna show other window results of this TestNG. Okay, so this is a TestNG report, which is more sophisticated. Like it shows how many passes, how many fails, right here. And
both of them showing the same result, console and
same thing, but
TestNG.
this is like more of a non-graphical this thing, non-graphical. If you want to share this, you can share it with the management. Console, you can't share it, right, unless you copy it and put it in the notepad. So this file is stored in the C drive, and TestNG files are stored in Surefire reports somewhere in here. You can check. Can you check? You can check. Just Google it and see. That's for your homework. Where the TestNG reports are stored in your local machine, it will show. It will actually put the same thing. So this is actually textual report, not graphical. That we have seen in the this example, that is a graphical, which also shows the screenshots and captions. So this is only captions, but it is more sophisticated, sophisticated way. That's it. Same thing, you can put in a file, Surefire reports, and it is shown in the HTML format, XML format, and text format. So that being said, reports, yeah. So this is what I was going to talking. I was talking. So right click on the project name and project explorer, then click on the refresh option. Test output folder should be created. It will be created when you are run, or go to test out folder in this one, this particular location. There will be folder called test output. So let's see if I refresh it, can I see it or not? Refresh. See, test output automatically created. So these are all reports. Old report. Yeah. Okay. XML format. Yeah. So basically, it's a file which you can share. That's a draw advantageous thing. And index.html you can open using a browser also. Yeah. So this is how it's gonna look. You can open using a browser. Let me use the browser. Basically, you can attach this directly to the email for reporting purpose. Okay, let me save this bookmark. Okay, whenever you encounter something, just save it. Okay, let's see this. So if you see this, it's in automation project, test assured framework, test output, index.html, right? So now how many tests passed we show here. I mean, you can also have RTM, requirement traceability matrix. So this particular test case is mapped with which requirement ID, all those details you can see. One method and one pass. So this method is done, right? So if you have multiple test cases, it will show each greens, otherwise reds. Exception, oranges, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so this is basically for reporting purpose TestNG and annotations purpose TestNG is used. Okay, so you can just refer to this and multiple test cases. Like I said, you can use multiple TestNG annotations like this test, and I'm simply asserting something, doing nothing. And the report looks like this, the way just now seen, and HTML based, text based, tree structure based. You can see in the Eclipse itself, right? But if you want to see more of a file, separate file, HTML based, which we have just now seen. And parameters, if you want to method to be executed in a different order, like I said, priority, you can set priority, like multiple test cases. Like you can set priority equals 1, 0 is the stop priority, priority 4, priority 2, likewise. So it will, irrespective of the order you mention, always it's going to execute this test first, then comes to this, then comes to this. So priority bracket priority equals something. So there are many options you can set for an annotation. So this is one of those which is most widely used. So okay, so demo AT again, same thing. So I'm skipping multiple parameters apart from priority. Like I said, test annotation can set with always run, so no matter what. So or which can be set to true or false, and enable true or false. You can also disable without commenting or disabling, right? So you can just set enable true will make it enabled, otherwise false will be false. Apart from test, we can also use before test, after test. So before test, like the name suggests, what it does, methods under this annotation will be executed prior to the first test case in the TestNG file, right? Before the first test case. After test means after the first test. Methods under this annotation will be executed after the test. So most commonly used examples are prerequisite, like setup and everything can be put under before test. And what after test refers to what? What suggests? What do you want to put under after test? Like reporting, creating PDF reports and all those stuff, you can put it under this post requisite. So like this, before test, launch browser, and after test, quit, closing the browser also you can put after test, which is, so same thing. You can try this, try the same project that we have tried on demo UAT with TestNG also. Okay, try to convert, but make sure you copy it, make a copy of it, do not change the existing, which might break. Maven and TestNG, that's your big homeworks, but don't worry. Same thing, you can refer to this later. I put the launch browser in the before test, so it will be, you don't have to call, always before every test it will be called, and launch browser is the first and foremost thing I need to do, and main flow is a test case, and after method, so same thing which is in a different, it's not hybrid framework, it is a modularized framework without hybrid, without data pool approach. So you can try the same thing with your main final project, data driven, and after test close browser. So you can put multiple things here, reporting, PDF reporting, killing all the instance, the processes, and so on and so forth. So then okay, so few more examples for the TestNG beginners. You can try this. All you have to play with this, just most widely used as before class, before method, before test, after class, after method, after test. So you can see which is executing first, yourself, first hand, so that it will give you. So this is the order. That's why I mentioned in the here, which is going to get executed. I am just printing launch browser is first, then home page it will register, then blah blah blah, then terminate browser is last. So I can get an idea. Simply put, @before method should contain methods that you need to run before each test case, while after method should contain methods that you need to run after each test case. Fine. Okay, so there are more annotations before suite and after suite. So anybody can tell me what it is useful for, like the name suggests. Can anybody read? You will get understanding quickly. What is before suite and when the after suite is used? I mean, or should you know. Okay, anyone who is not on the mute can talk.
Done the example for the below, and the before suite annotation method will be run before the test any the suite have run.
Right. So suite is nothing but a collection of test cases, right? So you can also bunch up certain test cases in a suite, and you can call it a suite, like which belongs to a particular module. Let's say registration module has 5 test cases, so I can call it a registration suite. And just before this suite I want to do, and after this suite I want to do, like just like simple say registration started, and after is registration.
I have one question. And then
Yeah.
before suite and then before test, what is the difference? Yeah.
Okay, before test is one single test case, right? Like like I said, multiple 5 test cases clubbed together, you can call it a suite, right?
Okay, and
It's
then
more of a, yeah, more of a group only. Before groups, after group is another indentation. So it's just a matter of how do you perceive it. That's it.
before
So
test only for we'll use the single test, or before suite
single
means
test,
we'll use the multiple test it. Eh? This one is the
correct.
facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And you can try before, you can try it on your own, try it and see, put some method under before group and see what happens, group some, and you will see in the console. You just print it, all you have to do is just print it to the console, you will see what is the order. Okay, and these are the some non encountered operations that we can let's say. So mostly we don't use it unless otherwise required. So I just kept it as the last chapter. Keyboard mouse operations, uploading files, WebDriver, right? So like I said, I created one utility called keyboard utility, and the last class whoever is there, they'll know. So doing keyboard, whatever you do with the keyboard, it can do same thing, typing or whatever you want to do, alt tab, you can also do this. Okay, so that you cannot normally do with the Selenium WebDriver. So keyboard utils using the robot I have created, but for the keyboard handling and mouse events, handling special keyboard movements, you can use that. And there are more to it. Handling special keyboard and mouse events are done using the advanced using interactions API. Uploading files is another one, right? So for uploading files, what you do, there is a browse button, upload button, you click on it and do that thing, right? It opens the pop-up window. You know what I'm saying? Are you able to imagine, or should I open something? Okay, what I can open youtube.com. Okay, so if I click this one, what it will open, upload video. So if I go there, so okay, so it basically opens after a login, create channel. Okay, what, cancel. So here there will be browser art. Nowadays there is drag and drop functionality. So drag and drop is most advanced. So there will be browser button like here, browse button like. No, it is not coming. Okay, there we go. So if you open, it will open a browse button, right? So you have to upload it like this. So uploading also, you can use this with the send keys. I mean, with the robot. Normally you cannot do this with the Selenium WebDriver. So click and hold, click context, double click can be used similar way. Click and hold is just click and hold like this. In some cases it is useful, like click and hold like this, and double click, right click, context click is this one. Okay, so these all are the methods to perform this operations. Click without releasing, right? Click, control click is performs a context click. Context click is right click, and double click is double click. So some drag and drop. Okay, so it is also there. Source and target. So target is a destination, source is source file. Drag and drop. So like we have seen in the YouTube, so you can drag and drop using this function. Performs click and hold at the location. First clicks like this. If I want to drag and drop this, clicks and holds, and drag and drop, right? So that's exactly can be done using this method. And at a particular offset, like x coordinate, y coordinate, I want to drag and drop here, and so you can also mention drag and drop by source x offset, y offset. So x offset is on this, y offset is like this, horizontal and vertical. Yeah, so horizontal and vertical. Key down, modifier key, key up, all these things you can do. So I have already created those key. Scroll up, just type control key underscore. All these methods are available. Control will list out all the methods. So these are all methods: zoom out, zoom in, scroll, pause, up, left, right, you mean arrow buttons, I can say. So these, and alt, end, control release, control plus right click. So these all can be done. Just try it and see. Key right click. So it will do. So let me quickly show you one. So here you can try these test cases also. You know what I mean? So this consists of different items, I mean objects on the application. Alerts, database test you can try, only provided you set up the database on your machine. Drop down we already know. I don't think drop down we need a separate test. Because we have already seen, right, drop down. Yeah, switch to frame is there. That didn't show you. Yeah. So this is okay. Drop down test is not required. Let me delete it. And menus you can try. Just uncomment and see. There are some path issues in this, jar issues. Okay, cheapo here you can try, and you can add more tools. QA. Okay, I just commented. Web service test commented. You can uncomment and see and try to resolve those issues. That is also part of automation, you know, debugging and fixing the errors. Okay, let's see this keyboard utils quickly. So I'll comment this. Everything is static, so I can just type keyboard utils. So my utils is this last one, not this one. So even the match, it matches the name, so just be careful, it belongs to the my. So key underscore, what I want to do, right click, right? So let me call this and see if it right clicks or not. Okay, let me comment this. Run Java program. I'll just quickly shift to this guy. So see, it clicked, right click, wherever, whatever is visible, it doesn't care. It is independent of driver, WebDriver. So it just right clicks like this, and you can move and select something. All the operations that are not possible by the WebDriver can be done by the what? Keyboard utils. Keyboard utils in the sense, mostly it is robotic operation. Just setting this properly. Okay. So move to elements. Sometimes in an application you will see some drop down which you drop down like this, and it, as soon as you move over, it moves, it goes back like this, let's say. Okay, so you move and hold, I mean hover over it, to perform such operations. So the method you can use is move to element, and hold and release send case we have already seen. There's no okay. So in the same demo utility example, you can apply this. Actions is a class. So actions has a builder, and using same mouse builder dot move to element dot build. So you can build multiple actions, move to element, hold, click and hold, then finally you build it, then it will do all the operations, then finally you have to perform dot perform. So try this on your end and take it particular website which actually has these particular elements. And okay, building a series of multiple actions. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So you can actually do like the series of actions. Action is a class and series of actions is my instance of it. Okay, I create two instances of actions, and builder is one and series of actions. So I want to perform these actions one after another. You know what I mean? Move to element. I want to move to this element. Click on it. Okay, click on it. Key down. Okay, down key. Send, type something. Key up. Double click. Context click. Okay, all these one after another. Okay, now there is no way you can do this with a driver, regular driver. So I have to create an instance of actions class. Okay, then finally perform this series of actions. I'm just performing. That's it. It will do automatically. So try this and see. Just copy this. This is a TestNG related class. So copy or just type it. Do not copy. So it will do the same thing. Do you want me to show you, or you can try? Okay, you want to try, or do you want me to show you? You can try somewhere here. Okay, I will take it as I will try it on my own. Okay, so you're going to try it on your own. Is it right? What is the response? I didn't hear anything.
Oh.
Do you want me to show you, or you are gonna try?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
first
means
you.
what for what?
There are lots of things.
No. Yes for what? Yeah means what? Yeah for sure. Yeah for I want to try.
I think I missed the TestNG class and it's seeming
Don't worry
new
about
to me.
TestNG. We can do it. This is not related to TestNG. That's what I'm saying. So without TestNG, this we are trying to do multiple actions, building a series of multiple actions. Okay, you can directly try here. Okay, let me show it to you instead of asking. That's better. Okay, so let me create a new test case. Right, that's better. So let's call it. The reason I am walking you through this document is if I missed anything, I should be able to teach you right away, so that it's 100% done. Okay, let's call this actions. Okay, actions is a keyword, so I'm using it. So let's call it multiple actions. Okay, so it's a non-TestNG. So for the concept, you don't have to go for the TestNG. So for the enhancements, you can go for TestNG and Maven, but concept logic wise, you don't need. Okay. So WebDriver, I need. I'm opening the some application. That's why I'm using WebDriver, right? So which one I can use? Setup dot. Yeah, setup dot launch browser, and URL is. I'm directly hard coding it so that we are doing different example. Double dot. What is the URL? HTTP dot don't do like this, but I'm just showing a separate example. That's why. So what is the browser I want to use? Okay, Firefox. Let's see. Oh, okay. Directly I can hard code it right here because I'm not calling from the this one config. So I can, just for an example, right? Okay, so that is done. Then maximize. Okay, that's gonna taken care of. So then on some element I want to do this. So So let's create a series of actions. Web element username is not required. Okay, all right. Username, that's what we want. So I want to call a username from first file, first page. So what is the first page? So test case. I could have done it in the same test case, but that's okay. So registration is the first page, or launch browser has the thing, right? Launch browser has it. So let's go to demo 18 here and see. Okay, so this is the one, because we didn't automate this one. We directly went for registration. We clicked on register, right? So username. So let's see, Control Shift I. What is its XPath? Okay, XPath is so and so, right? So how do you write XPath? Did everyone remember how to write XPath? Do not forget, this is the important thing. Double slash input contains. Do it again. This is that's what we have done in the very beginning, right? Okay, now tell me, contains what? I wanna go for name. You can mention full name also, username. Okay, that's not a match. Why? What is the issue? Contains @name username. It's not showing one match. Why? 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 Because I put a wrong thing there. Okay, now you get why. Okay, so let's go to this class, and what we are gonna do, first we are gonna get a web element, because I am going to do perform these actions, series of actions is username, right click, type something, blah blah blah, all this stuff. You can do on the page directly, there's no problem, but typing you can visibly see if you type in it's a text box. Okay, so web element is gonna be returned using this. So how do you do it? Web element, let's say username. Okay, driver has to be returned. So just driver dot find element by dot XPath. XPath I copied is this one. So this is going to return me web element, right? Just import it. Okay. Now the actual programming starts now for the actions. So I had to create an instance of actions and pass the driver. Okay, because it's driver dependent, because I'm doing on the application actions. Let's call it builder. And this takes. Okay, so import the actions. So it's a part of Selenium only, Selenium interactions. So don't worry about jar. And next thing is create a series of actions. Series of actions equal to builder dot, then finally build. Okay. So series of actions is equal to builder dot. First I want to do what? Click. Okay, so since there are multiple actions, I'm gonna take a new line. Dot move to element. Okay, so let's, it clearly moves to the element. We can put a delay in order to see it perform. Dot move to element. See, now it is available. Move to element. And target is this one. So which element? Web element. So which web element you want it to move to the username element?
The same thing we did with the like send keys with the directly WebDriver.
Right. This is the example I am showing you. Correct. You are right. You can directly send keys. I am not denying it. Now I'm showing you example how to perform a series of actions. Like this is the wrong website to perform on. So imagine there is a more advanced site called kayak.com. I mean, you can try this on your own. I'm just showing you theoretically. So yeah, you move here, right? Some you know some websites have, after you move it drops down. So you have to move to that first. I don't see the website. Which one? Anybody can recall? Cheap. Okay. I mean, suddenly, if you needed the examples, you can't find those examples. Otherwise, you can find a lot of examples. Okay.
Like in some website, like when I hover over any elements or drop downs, they
That's what I'm
automatically
saying.
pop.
Yeah. So you have to move to that element first, then hover over it. So two actions. So even this one doesn't have it. Where is it? Okay, let's go to yahoo.com. Yahoo should Windows. Okay. Huh.
Like Amazon or something.
Okay, like this. No, you have to click on it. Some have just hover over it and it just pops up. Okay, so like this. You know what I mean? If you hover over this, it comes. Now I move to this element slowly. You can't do this without actions. These are the series of it. First you have to move, then stay. Okay, then move, then click. So these are like exactly what you do manually. We are building this. You know what I mean? So here I am showing it on the different example. Even though you don't have to move actually, you can directly, like you said, I don't have to do all this stuff. I just click set text, right? So just an example.
But for the for the drop down of like which element we are hovering on,
right?
So catch the spot, we have to move to that hovering element first. Then from there, we can take the element after we move into that parent element.
Correct. Yep, you got it. So you can try this on any site you can come across. Okay, not just this site. There are sophisticated sites. After you drop down, it whole thing pops down. You slowly move to something and then select that like that. So you try with yahoo.com. Okay. So now I'll show it with our own demo unit. So key down will do after clicking. Key down will do drop down. So you know what I mean. Sometimes it shows something. Key down. So literally I'm pressing the arrow key on my keyboard. That's what it does. So key down. So you don't have to perform all these operations. These are just I'm showing. You can skip key down. So just I'm showing for the example purpose only. Okay. Do not take it literally. In other words, key down. Okay. So key down. I want to type something. Okay. So in which I want to type and what I want to type. Text name, and I want to type key shift. Okay. So now you understand why I'm doing. I want to type in this all caps hello. Okay. But all caps I want to try with a shift and hello. Okay, you know what I mean. I can actually set text and hello. That's but I'm showing like differently. That's all. Okay, so I'm pressing shift and key down, then typing hello. So it will type maybe.
Uppercase hello.
Keep and hold. That's also okay. So let's see what it does. Just do not take it. That's why I'm taking just an example how to build a series of actions. Now your requirement will be something else. Accordingly, you have to build a series of actions. Okay, send keys, key down. Key down takes to first username, comma. Okay, so this is not the proper key down. There are overloaded key down. Yeah, so web element target. So not the first one. This key down is for whatever you see. Just type key down. Here you go to this web element, type key down. That's the difference. The overloaded method. So you have to look for user name, and key down is keys has different. So keys has all the keys on the keyboards. So using the keys class, I can type whatever I want to. So if I want to go to backspace, I can go literally. So exactly what I defined in keyboard details, you can individually try anywhere. If I want to key and press escape, right, you just call it. So this is just a reusable function for the same. So we are just doing in a non-reusable way. Keys dot, okay, keys dot, okay, I can also enter. I can control. Okay, let's go for down only. Keys dot down. Let's see what happens. We may not do the same thing. Keys dot shift. Okay, let's go for keys dot shift on. Then send keys. Now I am typing something. Dot send keys. Send keys action. Not available. Oh, sorry. I just ended the semicolon. So you cannot end. You have to build it. That's why the send keys was not available. So send keys with a web element, right? So always I'm going to send keys to my username only. And let's type hello. And don't end it because we are building. Until we build, do not end the line with the semicolon. Now key up, you can try double click. Okay, so double click. Let's try double click on which element. I am passing the web element. So if you don't pass a web element, it will double click on wherever the mouse cursor is, like double click. Right? Context click. So you will see like this. So dot context click means it's right click. Call it context for the emoji. Okay, the whole thing is closed. Did I save it? Because of the emoji, Eclipse got closed. Okay, so then build, for finally build, then I perform the build dot perform. Basically I don't have to mention series of actions dot perform, dot build dot perform in one go. That's it. So these actions is going to be useful in the more those hi-fi fancy websites, not the government websites. Like standard websites, we don't have fancy operations, but wherever you see these fancy things, this is where it's gonna come handy. Okay, whatever we typed, it's not saved, guys. So let me type it. The emoji caused it to close. Okay, so tell me first. I didn't save. That's why you have to keep on saving. Control Shift save. Will save. It didn't even save anything. Okay, web element is defined. Actions builder. Now series of actions. Okay, so there is a difference. Actions is a builder. Action is a series of actions. Okay, so actions and action both are different classes. Action, series of actions. Oops. Oh, builder actions. Instance builder dot. Stay. Okay, I'm gonna save every time. So import this action also. So look for which action. Okay, it's always Selenium action. There are different action classes in these JavaX. We don't need that. So always you have to apply your due diligence here now to choose the appropriate import. Dot click. Oh, first dot move to element. Sort of builder dot move to to element with username. Okay, offset you don't have to. I just offset means where do you want to move to specific location. And comma 20 or so and so. We have to check that in the DOM, but I'm not going to use the offset. Dot click dot key down. Okay, key down. Web element username keys dot shift dot send keys name is hello. Then key up. Okay, I can skip double click. Okay, just say this is where there are right double click or something. Double click where? Okay, on the username. Click on context click on the web element. So username, then dot build, then dot perform. So that's it. So these are all the series of actions. Now why error? Because it's going to throw exception. You have to put a try catch block or something is missed maybe. Builder. Okay, check. Did we miss something? Cannot convert from void to action. Okay. Okay, actions builder. Okay. So let's see what's the error is. Okay, so let's try this in a different manner. Maybe I have to perform series of actions separately. Perform dot build and series of actions. Series of actions dot. Okay, so I just have to perform the series of actions separately. Okay, now let's try this individual test, multiple actions. Run as Java application. Yeah. So just watch what happens. You just have to apply this concept wherever. So you can try in different sites. It's more useful if we have fancy things on the site. Okay. Right. Okay. It moved, clicked, and right clicked. Okay. It did so fast that you cannot even observe. Okay. So, but it did whatever it's supposed to do. Okay. So now that's about the actions. Same thing. That's what we did. I actually took the screenshot also. And then upload files. You can go to any files like sendfile.com or mega file upload. There are many, right? Cloud file services you can go to. And theoretically, all you have to do is same thing that we just define the XPath and set driver.find element by XPath and check the web element, and then send keys. And I'm just setting the path here directly. So this is upload element, right? So if I go to where YouTube. Okay. So, oh, it's not gonna allow me. Okay, let me close this. Okay. It's the same thing. Like you have to find the web element by XPath. Here, if I open it, right, so there must be some web element. So you just check it out in the DOM. So then same story, driver.find element by, and just I am sending the whole text for the path where the file exists. That's all. It's nothing but regular driver operations only. So you got it, right? So all I have to do is, instead of normally what I do, if I have to do this, I'll go and select this file, correct? So what I'm doing is I'm taking the whole path including the file name. It opens up, right? So now I'm just typing the whole path, that's it. So this is nothing but a send text. Okay, only thing is this particular this field, whatever it is, it doesn't have a web this XPath. So you have to take the help of keyboard operations. So just use the keyboard dot send keys. Okay, there is a method, or keys dot type something. So all you have to do is just to reiterate this, whatever I said. I created a keyboard methods right here, keyboard utils. Now, okay, watch carefully. This is the XPath. You find the XPath and apply click link. Now it will open. Now this is not a web page. Okay, this is a Windows pop-up. Okay, even though it's a Chrome. Now, because I cannot find XPath for this one, simple reason, right? Now, wherever the cursor is hanging here. Just send the keys, but you cannot send the keys unless you have the XPath. So what I'll do is I'll utilize keyboard key underscore type key any or something I created for the whole text. Try this. It's there are many methods I created, and for one you can start typing. Yeah, I think this is the one, key underscore any. Okay, so you just, okay, but it has to take string, right? Okay, these are all integers. Key underscore enter character. Okay, yeah, this is the one, character sequence. Okay, keys, tabs, and type. Okay, just remove the tabs and just start typing. All right, I'll show you. So this takes tab. Okay, so remove the tab, just type value. So you create another method, just type keys underscore type, it will type. All you have to enter is character sequence instead of string. So what are the character sequence? String is nothing but a sequence of characters, right? So you just mention the character sequence separately, individually. So that's all. Because this is just a path which has max, 50 characters or so, you can do that. So try that. Okay, so that's uploading files and downloading files. Okay, so same thing, setting up widget. There is a wget. Download it from here and set the path in the advanced system settings. You know how to do this. Go to this and type environment variables. Or okay, there we go. Environment variables. Now, if you click on this, it will allow you to change the environment's path. You know what I mean? So initially, automatically it does. But if you want to set any path for Maven, if you install Maven, especially, you have to pay attention. So go to environment variables and click edit and add this path here in the path. Okay, you just have to append the path here. Just add the Maven path here. All right. So that you do, and that's it. Yeah, big path. There is no Java path, and Maven path also you have to add .m2 path. Okay, there are two paths which you will get in the like anywhere, and then save, apply. So let me just show you. Maven path. Okay, so these are the two variables, Maven underscore and this one. Okay, so just click on this and see. So if you're going for Maven, you definitely do this. Yeah, Java home, you same thing. That's exactly what it said. Maven home is a variable name and value wherever you store Apache Maven. Okay, so I'll just make a note of it. I'll just store this in my bookmarks. Okay, if you want these bookmarks, I can send you. Okay, so this is saved. Okay, now you set up this widget, and okay, so that's a code. You have to try that download button and get attribute HF. Then run this command cmd wget -pc. Okay, so same example with the TestNG I provided. So you can try this on your own. Okay, because we are running out of time. I'm going faster because we have to cover this interview. Selenium interview questions and sample resume. Just again, I already shared these with you in the here. Selenium Pro. Okay, this is the one currently I'm going through, and interview questions and sample resume, both in PDF format and text format. Also, I put text. Yeah, there we go, text format. Okay, so let's finish this quickly. So you try that, or you want me to show you again? I'm getting doubtful whether you're gonna try or not. Are you gonna try this? No answer means I don't know what to take it as. Okay,
Today we like to try.
try. Yeah, try. You have to say that, otherwise I get doubt whether you want to try it. Okay, I'm just creating a class, and you can try this. Download. Oops. Okay. Okay, I think I cannot copy this. Copy text is there, but it's not working. But you can type it. Type in and try. Oh, okay. But it's a TestNG, right? Okay. And we have to convert this. Package is not this. What is the package name?
Test case.
Test cases. It actually comes from the top, right? Yeah, test cases. Is it download thing? Download test. Import TestNG. I don't have to do it. You can literally remove all imports. It will automatically do it. So WebDriver. So if you want to convert this TestNG, just upload that jar. You know how to do this, right? Build path and everything. You have to add that jar. Build path. Okay, one more time actually, because sometimes yeah, so in the external jars you just add external jars, right? So all you have to do is download this. System is very slow. Okay, all right, so web element, you don't have to do this interrupted exception. Just go for exception. Okay, driver.quit. So this is the individual test, so don't worry about the hard coding things. So you can try. I'm not going to execute it. I'm just putting as
By
right. Okay, so you can try this. Okay, at your home. So all you have to do is just put public static void main. So that it will run. This is a non-TestNG test case. So, and you don't have to have this download and driver, change driver to static, right? So you can base URL, you can enter. Okay, base URL is not available, so you have to make this static as well. Static within static. That's it. Okay, now you can try download thing. So go to any, you just replace this with any site where you can find download the download file, download operation, right? Okay, now I'm leaving it as this. Okay, it will do the same thing. You go download, you have this wget command setup that I mentioned here. Okay, so you have to do this prior to this. All right, then it will process the class. Okay, so it uses runtime. So whatever you can do with the command prompt, you can do this with here runtime. Config, like kill process, all these commands you can type. Likewise, I'm running a command literally from the Java code. So this is the way. And runtime.getRuntime.exe, you can run the whole command, whatever IP configure, whatever. This is a command prompt command. Okay, so then it will wait for the thing, and you can pause that string. So just try it. It may not be 100% foolproof, and that's basically just to give you an idea. Normally, download we don't use in the regular projects unless it's very. Okay, so you can try multiple ways. Switching. Okay, so this we couldn't tell you because there are no frames in the demo UAT. You know what I mean? So in the demo UAT, there are no frames. So if there are frames in the project, which most likely will, then you have to use switch to dot frame. So this switch to dot frame is a method. I will just create it and leave it. So this is used for pop-ups.
The frame is like the pop-up windows, like when we
No. Frame is different. Frame is like invisible thing. So let's say this username password are in a frame. So in order to even operate on username, type something, you cannot directly call settext. You have to switch to that frame. Okay, so that I will just define it, because that only find where the frames are. So let me just define it so that you can call the method. That's it. Just before settext, you have to switch, call this method. That's all. Okay, so let's call this guy public void switch to frame. So it also takes WebDriver, driver, and XPath. XPath of the particular XPath of frame, right? Which frame you want to switch. So you can easily find the frame in the DOM also. I'll just show you. So for example, this is the one, and I want to, let's say this, there is a frame inside. Inspect. So all you have to do is find the frames by /iframe. Okay, then it will show. So there are no frames in this site, so there are no frames. It's not showing anything. So it will show list of all frames. Then you find the frame, write the XPath, same thing. So the only thing is it starts with iframe instead of input or something. The element name is iframe. Okay. Okay. So coming back to this, now let's define this. Okay, all you have to do is driver dot switch to dot frame. Okay, now this takes string as a target locator, which is this. Okay, that's it. So you can keep this in the try catch flag, all the stuff you can do later, but main thing is that one. Okay, so I can add elements, source, generate element comments. This method is used to switch to any frame. So when we are going to call this method before operating upon any object if it is inside a frame. Okay, you got the picture, right? So if it is inside a frame, you have to call this first, then call that. So for example, in the page flows, let's say book a flight. So let's say set text first name. So let's say all these elements are in a frame, right? Now all I have to do is op dot switch to frame driver and pass that XPath. Okay, XPath is not defined here, but you pass the XPath of the frame. I'm just doing a dummy XPath. You know what I mean, right? Then it will allow you to operate upon this. Otherwise, it won't even allow. So basically, you have to take the help of DOM and find if there are any frames. Okay. So let me show you if there are any frames in yahoo.com so that you will get a picture. Control I. This should have some, so you can try examples on different sides. That's why I'm insisting on the practice. Control I, come on. Control I doesn't come. Okay. Control I, Control F, double slash iframe. Okay, so see. So this is a frame, right? So this frame XPath you can easily write. It's like it has some name or whatever. So you can, you know, all this stuff, right? Now all you have to do is just call it before the actual operations. That's all. So I'm just commenting this for your reference. Okay, so conceptually, that's the XPath. If you encounter it, you should be able to. Okay, alert messages are different. Now that's the difference. Somebody asked a question. Alerts are different. It pops up the alert, right? Either like dialog box. So iframes are not visible. Iframes are invisible, but they are there. Inside which the elements exist, objects exist. But alerts and pops up, or you can actually see visibly. It pops up. So you have to confirm it, OK or cancel. Then only it will allow you to go back and resume the operations, right? Otherwise it won't, it will fail automation test case. So let's pick up one test case. Waits we have already seen, implicit wait and explicit wait, right? So what is implicit wait? Implicit wait is the wait which used to wait for certain time, and before that it's able to proceed, it will proceed without wasting any more time. Explicit wait is waiting with a condition. So same thing, driver is going to WebDriver my wait. We have already done this in the operations implicit wait, so you don't even have to worry. Control O, wait, yeah, you have to call this. Condition wait is this. So whenever I want to wait until this is enabled, text box's username is enabled, it returns true, then I'll be able to, until that it will wait. It's not a time related wait, it is a conditional wait. So for example, think of it as I am clicking on this sign button, and until something occurs, until this Yahoo is appearing, I want to wait. Okay, so then you can put this XPath and wait until that image enable. Okay, then you can proceed. So that is, you can also put is selected, is displayed, is expected conditions is different. Okay, let's come back to this alerts. There should be some example. Okay, so this probably has alert, so I'll take this. Okay, so let me type alerts. Do I have? Yes, I have the example. Okay, so here, okay, so this will pop up alert box, right? Now I'm getting a text from alert box and validating it, reporting results. So this is one way, or you can click OK on the alert box to finally, yeah, accept. So alert not accept will click OK on this. So you can try this. Let me try and execute this quickly. If it is able to execute, then we can visibly see what an alert and how to deal with it in automation. Yeah, that's what I expected. There should be some error. URL arg0. Okay, so this is an example where I run with configuration. So I want to exactly enter this. Yeah. So this is the URL, right? So URL I'll remove. Directly I'll get the URL. So instead of okay. So here I am accepting the configuration from run configuration. So in order to run this, I have to go for run configuration and add this argument here as a whole www.demo.aut.com. Okay. So then run, it will take this as argument. You know what I mean? Okay. Otherwise, which is not good for automation. That's why I didn't tell you, because you have to do it manually. So I'm commenting this. So directly pass this from somewhere like Excel spreadsheet or config file. So here it is hard coded. So let's run as everything you can reconfigure. And see one more error. What is the error? Now you can tell me why this error occurred now. Because of driver. This path does not exist, right? So I'm deleting. So let's use the old method. Where is it? Multiple actions thing. Yeah, I will use this individual WebDriver configuration in Firefox, right? Yeah, fine. So instead of this, yep. Okay, so directly I'm passing URL here. So let me make a URL here. Small. And this is the URL. Where is the URL? This is the URL. So that I don't have to do the driver.get again, right? Oops. Okay. So instead of demo AT, we'll pass URL. Okay, now let's run. Should run. So I just commented these top two because if you want to try the configuration thing, run configuration, you can try. It will ask for the configuration basically. args0 means here I am accepting args, right? String array type args. So you can accept more args, like multiple args. So then finally I have to convert it to string and to uppercase. Uppercase is not required, but if your project needs like environment name, you can like tst1 or tst2, you can put it in uppercase if it accepts. So do not worry about this, and I don't recommend using those. So let's run this. Okay, so it takes a lot of time. Firefox is very slow. Let's use Chrome. Okay, so now if you click on go button, it will pop up an alert. What's it doing? Okay, like this, and I can capture this text and I have to click OK in order to continue. Okay, so maybe it didn't do anything, it threw the error. Because of the XPath. Okay, now let's do it using Chrome and we can change the XPath immediately. Input contains name, username. Okay. Oh, okay, so this was not required, right? So nobody is telling. That's fine. Okay, anyway, let me do it. Okay, now it went to the site and clicked on go. That's why the pop-up occurred. Now it's capturing text and click on OK. So that's how we deal with the alerts. Alerts are, you can also call it what? Okay, it clicked on, and if you look at, and probably it will close. Yeah, perfect. Okay, don't worry about the rest. I'm passing the wrong file, maybe. File path does not occur caption, so that's why through error. So if you want to pass the correct file path, we have the file path where we have stored screenshots. This is the one, right? So you can pass this file path, it won't throw the error. So in order to use this here, you have to use this backslash. Okay, let me explain you this a little bit before it's going to that. Okay, what we are doing is we are going to the site which has the alert. Okay, so alert or pop-up, both are similar, technically similar, but pop-up has more options. Alert has only OK, whereas pop-up has OK and cancel too. Here you have to accept. Alert doesn't have a choice. You have to accept it. You have to click OK. Whereas pop-up, you can accept or deny. Okay, that is the only difference. Otherwise, technically. Okay, so this is the URL, and I'm launching the Chrome URL and waiting for blah blah for a second. And I'm going to this find element the go. So this is a go, whatever we see go, right? So that XPath and my expected text on the alert is this is the alert box. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting as per the requirement. And in order to operate on the alert, just like a frame, so just you understand this, you will understand frame also. Driver dot switch to dot alert instead of frame, switch to dot alert, and on the alert I can click OK or get text. I'm getting text of alert and storing in this alert message, and alert message is so and so. Now I am comparing my expected with actual. Alert message equals expected, it's pass, otherwise fail. Okay, so then captions, I have to change this again. Oh, I already changed it, right? Now I am setting the caption 001 pass, so and so, let's say alert text is, you can say alert text message, you can append. So that could be more realistic, right? Okay, then I'm waiting for 5 seconds. Then in order to accept it, you have to click OK. So like I said, alert has only one option, I accept. So then wait and quit. Okay, so it's very clear. Only one important thing is you have to do this, switch to dot alert and click OK. So I'll just mention these final here. Alert, you can do this, get text, or you can simply click OK. Okay, just to keep it in the notes, I'll also use frames. Okay, same thing. Okay, just watch carefully. You have to change all this. If you encounter frame, you have to switch to that frame and switch to default content. Okay, so driver dot switch to default content is important, because once you are in a frame, you operate on these elements, right? Okay, then you operate it, and you have to switch back to the default content back. I mean, you have to come out of the frame. Otherwise, you cannot access the elements which are outside the frame. So that's why this is to switch back, switch out of frame. Switch to frame, then switch to out of frame. So these two are important. So in order to do this, you can also directly call the method operations dot switch. You have to import every time. Switch to frame, then pass the text. So either way you can do it. So this line is equivalent to these two lines. Okay. Now I'm commenting this. Okay, so this is the side where you can find the frames. So maybe you can try. But before that, I had to change this. Grab this screenshots. Okay. So this is the captions file. Frames. Yeah, I had to change all of this because it has different paths. Okay, so alert. Let me use this. Frames. Replace this whole WebDriver instantiation. Okay, automatically it will call the launch browser so that you don't have to worry about anything. And the URL is driver.get. So I am removing this. So already the URL is defined. So this particular URL is for frames example. Okay, there is an error. So error. All this is gonna take care of all those things. So I'm removing these. Let it be, but I'm gonna directly paste it over there. So I don't have to do get. Okay, remaining everything the same thing. So only thing is here in this we can find some switch to frames. So that's why frames and alerts I created, and menus. Menus also you can try. I don't know if I'm able to. There is no time. Okay, let's try this later. So here I'll show you quickly by putting a debug point here. Where is it? Okay. Where are we clicking the go? Right here, right? Okay, I'll show you manually once and try to run. Okay, so this is where it stops, right? Click. Okay. I didn't stop because I was running in a. Okay, so now it's gonna stop here, pause here, because I'm debugging. Okay. Okay, so this is what. Okay, watch care. What? Okay, so it entered the debug mode. Okay, now I click on go. Now pop-up occurs, right? This is not a pop-up, it's alert. So you can do whatever you want to. You don't have to capture this text. You can just click OK. Okay. So normally this occurs in Chrome. So whenever you like enter URL in your project, then automatically it says you're successfully logged in or something. So you click OK, then you can go forward, right? You can whatever operations. This is just purely for alert example. So there is no other. So if you get the picture, well and good. I'm going to close this. So everybody understood the alert thing? Okay, watch one more time. All you have to do is alert, switch to dot alert. That's important. Okay, so that's alert. Now you can do whatever you want to do with it. Okay, it's taking time. Why it is taking time? because I'm putting sleep. 5 seconds. Okay. So okay, just to put this in here, I already put it. Alerts, frames. So same thing for pop-ups. So I would say for pop-ups, the only difference is you can also click cancel, accept, and there are many methods. So pop-up method will be there. So let's just mention. I give the example for pop-up. No. So alert slash pop-up, right? Pop-up slash alert. So same thing. So I'll just put it right here. And, frames. It is taking a lot of time. Okay, multiple actions I didn't mention, so I'll mention it in here. So these are all advanced operations, multiple operations, actions builder, alert, pop-up, and then we are seeing the frames, right? Okay, so for frames, fortunately, I have an example, hopefully. So let's run it. All I have to do is switch to frame. Okay, so the frame takes web element of that particular frame. So which is done by taking the XPath. So same thing. Frame or iframe is the element name, then name top frame. So let's see if it works. Otherwise, you can work it on any other working example. Okay. Okay, so it did work. Like I said, frames are not visible, so you can't see like alerts, but it did the job. So no exceptions. Text captured inside a frame. Demo.txt, demo.txt was inside the frame, and the test case passed. Okay, let's do it one more time. Pause it and see, and watch what happens. So in order to do that, what I had to do is before switching to the frame, I had to wait for a long time so that I can show you. Okay. So after opening, I will just wait for 5 seconds so that I can show you. Okay. Okay. So here, oh my God, it's so fast. Oh, it because it implicitly wait, right? It won't wait for the rest of seconds. So I have to use a thread.sleep. Okay. You got point. What is the, how do you wait statically? I mean, dot sleep. Okay. So let's wait for 11 seconds. This is 11 seconds, right? Let's wait for 111. Whatever. Okay, now run so that I can show you the XPath of the iframe or frame. Okay, so here you think this can be accessed using the get text or set text if it is a text box, okay, but it cannot be accessed because it's in a frame. So all you have to do is in frame. Now how do you know? You have to inspect in the DOM. You don't know initially, you just have to inspect. I'm just switching to down. Okay, now click on this. Now you don't see any frames here, but if you put get text and provide this XPath, it's not working. So all you have to do is, okay, in order to capture, you have to first inspect any frames are there. Frame. Okay, so there is frame, see, and if you hover over that frame, this text is highlighted. That means that particular object is inside the frame. Now you write the frames XPath. So what is the XPath? If there are multiple frames, you have to go with same thing. So you might get multiple matches, right? There are 1 of 3 matches, multiple. So how do you know? Down. So this is the frame, this is the frame too. Now all we want to do is you want to capture this or this, depends. So if you want to capture this, switch this frame. If you want to capture this, switch to this frame. Okay. Now iframe or frame. Now what is its name is top frame. This name is different maybe, but let's see if it returns a one match. That's all we want. So all I'm doing is @name top frame, right? Close. Okay. Now what? It's not providing any frame name top frame. Correct, right? Top frame. Ah, okay. This is the nobody is even telling. This is the exact match, right? Now I have to put equal sign. What's wrong with this? That is done. Okay, anyway, the site is done. Okay, it waited for longer, right? It is done. Okay, so now it continued. The basically I provided these seconds, its time was over, time outed, and then it went. Okay, anyway, you get the point. That's how you capture the XPath. So I'll just put the same thing here, or do this. Okay, so you provide the XPath of the frame, and or you do this. And finally, after doing operations on the objects inside frame, switch back. Okay, how do you do that? Switch back using the drive.switch2.default content. Okay, so you have to do this. I can create a method for this if you want. So let's call this. What do you want to call this? Public void switch to default content. That means switch back, switch to frame, switch out of frame. Okay, let's call it switch to default, and it takes same, and all you have to do is drive.switch2.default content. So I'm going to take this thing. It doesn't need any XPath because you're just switching back out of frame. So that's it. All you have to call is this. I'll mention this. Surround with is not required. So okay. So what do you, when do you call this? Call this method after performing operations inside the frame, so that the objects outside the frame are accessible. So just don't forget, every time you have to call in pairs. Call this, do the operations in between, then call this finally. Okay. Switch to default content or switch to default new operations. I mean, I'm creating an instance of new instance of operations. That's it. Okay, so either this or that. That's why I'm commenting this. Okay, that is about frames. Okay, everybody understood? Understood? Hello? Okay, what else? Frames we have seen, alerts we have seen, right? And download also we have seen. Simple download is this. I'll just put this. You can just try, I mean, whoever has access to. Okay, let's move on. And weights we have already seen, implicit, explicit weight, and static weight. And conditions, same thing. You put if something is displayed or visible or selected, you do something conditionally. So just mention drive.findElement by XPath is selected, then only click. So conditional way. Or you can use do while. So do while doesn't check the condition first time, right? It continues. So only from the second time you can check condition. You put in a do while, or while is displayed. If is enabled. So these are all the methods available for web elements. Okay, is enabled, is displayed, all these things. Conditions. Okay, want me to show you conditions? So simple. Okay, I'll, instead of creating another one, I'll show you in the existing one. Not download, but
I think
alert. Okay.
it's getting overwhelmed to me today. Yes, I think we're
Okay,
getting
wait.
too many
I'll
things.
it and yeah. So catching exception, you already know. Put
Because
I'll
yeah,
end in when
it's
statements.
kind of the web elements we find in the previous with experts is just the another kind of web elements that we have to find and we have to
Right.
so that's
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
Because it's feeling like it's very tough to me. To me, it's feeling like it's very much complicated something. So I just
No,
think
not
I can.
complicated. These are complicated. Okay, that's why I'm putting these as separate nodes. Advanced operations are complicated, definitely.
Yeah.
So before that, all was easy, simple. Now these are definitely complicated. I agree. All you have to do is
And I know I work with iframes with something where in the web page usually the
then
videos and the
become easy.
maps are put in the iframes. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so anyway, let me take 10 more minutes and finish because I know it's already 3 hours. Okay, so let's jump to interview questions. Okay,
okay.
so interview questions they will ask technically, so you have to be very sound in technical knowledge. So, like, what is your experience in Selenium? What's you're gonna say? I have worked in Selenium for last 6 years or so and so. And don't say you worked in Selenium RC. Remote control is first version, right? Like I told you in the beginning of this class, first version, record and playback. So you can directly say I started working the WebDriver. WebDriver is the latest version. And they will ask what is your approach in framework. So what you're gonna say, I have. You don't say this one. This is wrong one. So that's for the beginners actually, for the OPT guys or the experience is very less than you can say. But I use hybrid framework with a keyword driven, data driven, and module raised approach. Okay, and I have also worked in TestNG and Maven, so that you can practice. So you have to say the exactly same thing. Whatever you worked on, we have tried all the modularization approach with data driven and page objects as well as the utility driven and what else, batch files and config files, and you can say did work with front end automation as well as database and web services. Okay, and including REST API, REST services. All right, so you can call API, REST API, and create a response and fetch, send it and fetch the response. Create a request and say send it and fetch the response and validate, assert its elements and so on. So okay, so you can just go through this. I'm just walking you through this quickly. And what are the techniques that you have used for object identification? So what would be your answer? What are the techniques? How do you locate the elements in XPath? XPath, that is the technique. I already said the answer. Okay, what would you do if this test fails because of the object identification? So what is the most challenging thing you have faced in automation? So you have to say like identifying the objects using XPath. Sometimes they change the value, right? Because the developer changes the objects property. Okay. Now, how do you create automation test reports? In TestNG, how do you create it? Automatically creates the surefire reports, requirement to spec reports. That's just now I have shown you. Otherwise, in regular non-TestNG, how do you create reports? Anyone can jump and say, how do you create reports? Using the, I'll take the screenshots using the driver and store it in a location and also store the captions like this. Yes, and finally I run the PDF report using the jar called itext PDF, which will compile and put in a PDF report. Then I'll share. Okay. Now in our project, we do not use test stage environment. So what our approach should be and how we can go about it. Okay. So if it is a local environment, local host environment you're going to run, you have to use a JBoss, but that's not required. So you can say we are just running it in a test environment. And okay, this is for Maven also. Where do you store the basic input parameters? So where do you store the basic input parameters? If it is a Maven, you store all the dependencies in the POM file, right? And if it is a data driven approach, you store this data in the data pool in an Excel spreadsheet, and Excel spreadsheet will be in the shared location. And how do you run the Maven? So Maven command, these are the Maven commands to run the test cases from the command prompt. MVN -p localhost -d test for the whole group you want to run, test case name test. And you can try this if you're converted to Maven. What are the different types of weights? Implicit weight and explicit weight. And right, implicit weight we directly, you don't tell, you call the method called implicit weight, so they are not aware of it. So you have to say driver.manage.timeouts.implicitly wait and pass the max timeout so that it will wait. And thread.sleep is normally not recommended, it's static sleep. And how do you handle pop-ups and web pages? Yes, how do you handle pop-ups? How do you handle pop-ups? I just told you, right? Switch to dot alert. So difference between find elements, yeah. So to get one element, you use find element, multiple find elements, which will return the list of web elements. How do you right click on a page? Using the actions, context click. What is a page object model? The one we are following is a page object model, where you can store page objects, right? These are page object models. That's why hybrid framework automatically involves it. You can say create a separate package for pages in the application, create reusable methods in them, and then call these methods from the pages in my test case, so that even the page object properties are changed, I can directly go to that page and change the property rather than go into the each script. So this is the method. This is the way page objects. Okay, important points and codes. Okay, how do you create an instance of driver? Okay, already we have seen, just go through it. And these are all different by options, by CSS ID, link text. We have seen XPath only, so stick to XPath. And what are the different driver methods? .get, which will open the URL, get title, get page source, and so and so. You can also navigate back and forth in the browser. Navigate, but .back will get back to the previous page. If you want to refresh the page, navigate .refresh, and .quit will close the browser. And you can also use is enabled, is displayed, is selected, like for explicit wait I showed you, right? Is enabled, is enabled will actually make you wait for until that is enabled. So I'll just skip to summary. So by class name, so description, find element by class name. If you want to do this, use this find element by class name and class name. So by ID, by link text, just pass the link text. Okay, that is that what you see is what you get. Partial link text will be only you mention the partial text. By tag name, so most likely we have to use by XPath only. So you just path find element by XPath and the whole XPath. And get will open the URL. Get title will fetch the URL title of the page. And get text is most widely used. So you capture the text inside the page. Get text, which will return a string. And navigate back and forth. You can use close and quit. Okay. Quit is to close all the instance of WebDriver. Close is only for one instance. And methods of each element. This we have already seen, but I listed in the tabular manner. So for input box, what is the method you use? Send keys. Used to enter the values into text box, right? For clear. For checkbox, you just click radio button, click. Okay, link, click. Drop down, select by visible text. Okay, submit button, you just submit. And XPath we have already seen. I just showed you. That's it. So I'm going to share this with you guys, and I have also compiled all this. What is the difference between XPath and CSS locator? You can say what is the benefits of XPath. Okay, you know, XPath is more reliable and faster and accurate than CSS. And I have provided different elements and questions related to specific elements. You can read this through. script methods. How to implement the page object model using Selenium WebDriver, you can explain same thing. In the TestNG, you can use @findby. So that is the annotation for that. And top 10 questions you can go through. So basically, these are all self-explanatory. These are all compiled from internet, so you can go through. Okay, so the finally resume. So you, just for your reference, I also shared sample resume in the text, I mean Word format. So this is the one. So you can refer to this. So all you have to mention is according to your resume, your experience, you can change the values. All right. So you mentioned SDLC, STLC stuff and technologies and tools, your words, Selenium WebDriver, and this is just a sample. So your project must mention project, your designation. Come to the first one. Okay, this is your designation, and this is where you worked, and this is location, and this is from true period, and little brief description about the project and responsibilities, what you did in the project. Okay, I worked in automation and I designed framework with a hybrid approach, and I implemented logging and so and environment you used agile and Selenium WebDriver. So you have to repeat until you cover all the projects. So just for your this thing customization, you can follow this. Just change the values. I hope you already have prepared your resume, but just for reference, I'm sharing. So the interview questions and Selenium WebDriver stuff, the main WebDriver stuff I shared, which is the basic comprehensive Selenium WebDriver notes. Okay, so that you can find it in the same shared location, Selenium WebDriver here, and interview questions here, sample resume here, and the Selenium notes also I'm sharing with you. So here, and basic project you can download. So like I said, if you want to play with TestNG and Maven, just download it and import it and convert it to Maven TestNG. That way you don't mess up the existing Selenium tutorial. Okay, and TestNG documentation is here. Okay, if you want to refer to this, just go through this. It has all the annotations and their usages and explanations. And I'm going to share with you Maven also, and there's DataPool also here, right? And if any questions, you can let me know. And drivers, latest drivers. So okay guys, that's all for today. I'm going to end this session here. Any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to share this latest project because I made some modifications, right? So I'm going to put it in the GitHub and send it to the G Drive. So okay, any questions? We can call it a day. Otherwise,
do you have a class tomorrow?
Tomorrow you can ask, yeah, same time, but it's actually you can ask Asad. Asad, are you on?
If it is, what are we going to cover tomorrow then?
Okay, Asad is gonna tell about all those details. Is Asad on, or maybe you can send out an email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay then. So I'm ending this. Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.